Hello, my friends. How are you? My name is Natasha, and I am the creator and founder of the Glow Up Method. So I am so excited to be here with you today. Today is Thursday, and I am cooking up some good meals for my son and family. I say him first because I was like, whatever you want. Like, when you're ready to eat, I will cook it. And his request was tri-tip, baked potatoes, corn on the cob, mushrooms, and he loves peas. So peas. I'm not the biggest fan. I'll eat them, but the peas are all him. So I'm super excited to be able to have a meal with my family. He actually wants to go downstairs and eat at the table. He's a big table eater. He doesn't really like eating in the bed and stuff. So this is progress. I love the happy ending. I love getting through something, and when it's really challenging, you have this faith that things will go back to a new normal or normal, but you don't really know what it's going to be like. You don't know the effect. So, I was starting to get a little nervous, if he was going to have depression. He's in there playing. We found solutions. He's been doing his school. He did an essay. He went downstairs, since that was the first time since Thursday. He didn't want to use the wheelchair. He had such tenacity. He wanted to use his crutches. We crutched all the way upstairs. Well, he didn't use the stairs. We used the elevator, to his doctor's appointment. His post-op appointment went great. One bandage was removed. We got to see it. The swelling has come down significantly. And the best part is he's in relatively fairly little pain. And so, gosh, as a mama bear, I couldn't be more pleased with this experience a week later from where we were last week. Last week, a week ago from today, I was on the border. I was ready to lose it. I was literally at that threshold. This is too much. I don't know. Everybody has their own beliefs, right? I'm spiritual. I don't necessarily go to church anymore. I've been exposed to many, many different churches and many, many, many different religions. Perhaps, and again, I'll get back to it, but there's been, many times that I was an active member in a church. I'm more spiritual now, where I'm more I'm all encompassing, and sometimes, I don't know. So anyways, we won't get into all that, but I was God, universe, whoever out there, I am at the limit. There is nothing more I can take. There is and don't test me. I'm not testing you. I don't want to be haha, let's see. Can you really take 4? Because you're saying you can't. And we're gonna give her some more. I was I'm done. We're not having this anymore. I am done. So I really, really, really appreciate where I'm sitting today, a week later. And most importantly, I'm so appreciative of where he is on his journey. So we are 1 week done. 3 more weeks non-weight bearing, but hey, we are going to homeschool him. He's doing his work. Bless his teachers. They're totally working with him, and totally appreciate that. Again, this is at the end of the semester, the end of the school year. So I guess if there was a time to happen, the best time is now. He'll be in the thick of his PT during the summer. We start PT tomorrow, and I'm actually really excited because there's 2 professionals that I really adore there because they've worked with my kids. And it's funny because the one that Dylan predominantly works with is very much like Dylan's personality. He is very calm. He's very cool. He talks about things. He's not that he's not, but he's, just a little more just chill, right? I come in and I've got all this energy, but the one that Tyler will be seeing is much more like his personality. So Tyler's a little more savage, a little more he'll give and take, the kind of toot, not toot, I don't know what it is. It's sarcasm or something like that. So, and this is how she is as well. So I think that those 2 are going to get along like bee's knees. And I am so not excited for them to meet, but I'm I feel this, I'm excited for them to meet. And I know she is my secret, patisserie friend, so we often meet at the patisserie on accident, and which is gonna make it super easy when I have to give them a gift not have to, but I want, when I give them a gift at the end of their treatments, I know what to get her. I got a gift certificate ain't coming your way, because I know what you like. So unless I find out, she likes other things in the meantime. So, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get the scheduler. He loves the Niners. So I want to get him like a Niners hat or like a gift certificate to like the Niners so he can pick his own hat. And then I also want to get the guy that works with Dylan something. And I'm still brainstorming on that one. Like I was thinking maybe like a fantasy football, like gift card, if that's a thing. I don't know. Cause like, that's kind of like the, I was like, listen, we've talked about fantasy, like when Dylan hurt himself. So I was like, we used to talk about fantasy football before. So I was like, okay, so, how long are we going to be going to PT? Like, are we going to go through an entire, fantasy football season? They're like, yeah. And so when Tyler got hurt, I was like, so like, just let me know. Am I going to be here for fantasy football with y'all? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, at least I know like mentally. And I was like, okay, this, we talk about how our weeks went and stuff like that. So again, it's this thing that like, I never thought I would like or enjoy, but I actually do like it. I just do it with my family. I wanted to wager because I'm good at it. Like, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I think like I know nothing about who is playing, but then I also kind of like listen when they're talking and they don't like think I know what I'm talking about. And then I'm like, I'm going to put you on my waiver claim. So it's kind of fun, whatever. Anyways, but I will be with them for the long haul. And so I'm excited tomorrow for him to start PT. He's been doing his, quad activation. So, I keep reminding him, his biggest obstacle is going to be muscle atrophy. And fortunately, Dylan did not have a lot of muscle atrophy, which was really great. We did a lot of walks and stuff like that. This is a different beast. This is a different injury. Even though it's the same body part, it's very different, or, vicinity, right? But so it's very different plans, very different, abilities and things that they can do at this point. At some point, I'm sure we'll all blur and mesh into one. But the most important thing is to maintain that muscle. And so, as I'm sitting there, I'm like, just activate that quad as often as you can, at minimum 90 times a day. So it's not that hard. You can do this. So, I'm proud of him. He is doing that. So, and right now he's in there playing a soccer video game with his brother. There's like some great soccer matches have been on every single day. So he's been watching those for the last 3 days. I'm excited. He's willing to take the 45-minute drive to this soccer game on Saturday, to support his teammates, and 45 minutes home. So it'll be a nice amount of time for him to be out of the house and keep up the spirits. Because, some things like the physical can do, but like I say, like healing is such a holistic beast, right? It is not just about the physical. We are really good. Like we have Stanford doctors. So we have like the best doctors in the area, or some of the best doctors in the area, like tending to the physical needs. But I'm such like a believer that there is something about getting that holistic thing. So even today when he was walking outside with the crutches, he was like, wow, this is the first time like I've felt sun on me and been outside since last Thursday. I'm like, isn't that feel good? He was like, yeah, actually it does. I'm like, but you didn't Zyrtec and it's really polleny out. So let's get it to the car. So, you're not on top of this sneezing and all this stuff, but he's clear to be able to take a shower. He can take off the brace, just keep the legs straight. And it'll be good for, his body to have the soap washed down and help with cleaning and stuff. So, progress, like I love progress. Like it's just so beautiful. And so, I went today, I had debated if I'd be able to go, and I had a discussion with Tyler last night. Like Thursday mornings are my favorite class. Like if all the classes I go to of everything, Thursday morning is like a Friday night turn up. Like it has the craziest people in that class. It is one big party. And I love the energy of that class. It just brings out something extra in me. And that is the day that I give myself permission to go grab a coffee. Cause I work out Wednesday night, and I usually didn't drink coffee, but I get a black coffee, which doesn't break my fast. I have them put ice. So it's really not that much. I fill up a cup of like one of their cups with ice, and then I just fill up the rest with the coffee, and I chug it in 5 minutes, and then I am ready to rock and roll. And so, today I still am nursing my injury. So there were certain things that like, I'm like, nope, this hurts. So like stop. And sometimes I just went a little bit too far, but that's okay. It's still getting better. And, you know, but this literal pain in my butt is, you know, wasn't going to stop me. So I had such a good time. Like I missed it last Thursday, obviously. But oh gosh, I just feel like I just released everything that was in me. I was screaming the hey, hey, heys. I was moving my body, and it just felt so good to be in this safe space to just turn up and have a great time. And really, like, I literally, every dance move just felt like as if there was a gas nozzle and I was a car and it was just filling me up. Like I don't know what I look like, but I felt like I just had like a smile from ear to ear the entire time, and I just felt like I was extra sassy and extra movie. Like it just felt so good to just release. And it was the first time, like, I mean, there was a couple moments and there were like, he crossed my mind for a second, but mostly I left it at the door. Sorry, kid. I have my watch. You still get the breakthrough calls. So I didn't get a call. It was like, and then I got home because right after that I had to like rush. I left. I didn't even do the cool down. I rushed home, and then he was like still asleep. So he was like, oh, I slept the entire time. I'm like, awesome, cool. So I'm so glad I went, because like, you know, I debated. I still had my oldest son here, so that it wasn't like he was alone or something like that. But I was able to go and film my take, and I didn't feel a second of guilt about it. I felt so good. So that is huge progress from me over here, who thought that like for so many years that something happens to somebody in this household, I need to abandon everything and jump on board. And even further than here, like I was really, really close with my cousin for the majority of my lifetime. And any kind of whim, any kind of thing, any kind of argument with her spouse or mom or stepdad, any disappointment, any friend problem, I dropped everything. I dropped everything to go and help her. I mean, there were times where she was hospitalized for having like premature labor and stuff like that. And I mean, that entire summer, I completely was just like, I was at the hospital every day. You know, her husband wasn't he was present sometimes not even physically present, but even when he was physically present, he was literally not emotionally present there. Like he was sleeping through the majority of it, which he likes to sleep anyway. So I don't know, but it was definitely like, so for me, like I just abandoned everything for her and for that relationship, and because I thought it was the right thing to do. And even with my uncle and then my aunt with the cancer, same thing. It was like I abandoned me in order to do it. Even my dad, when he finally had like his ex-wife now had filed for the divorce, suddenly he remembered my phone number and was calling me like every couple of days. And it was kind of cool to like, oh, this is what we kind of missed, and I knew it someday it would come back. But then as soon as he got his new girlfriend, it was like I was dropped again like a hot potatoes. And like I felt so stupid because like I literally canceled a trip to Disney World that my uncle had bought for all of us like prior to him going and having a heart attack and passing away. Like, and I canceled it, and like it was not a refundable thing, and didn't go because my dad invited us over for dinner. Like, this is so stupid. Like, I just sometimes like abandon like the what I should be focusing my energy on because somebody else was like needing me or wanting my attention. And it's not just everybody, but like, so again, I say this to say like, it is so good to find this balance where it's not like an abandonment of me for you, but it's not also abandoning you in your time of need. Like, to figure out this balance and be like, okay, really listening to my body. I think for so many years, my body was speaking to me, sending me signals, telling me things, and I just ignored it. I pushed it away and I shoved it away. I didn't really know how to process it. So it's like, I remember listening to other people and they're like, oh yeah, I feel this in my body. I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, I really don't know. And so now I'm more cognizant of breaking down, like, what is the experience? I would just feel things, and it was just like, oh, I thought it was my blood pressure getting elevated, which it probably was, but like, I felt like, I didn't really have a definitive answer of what was happening. And so, through my therapy, it was just kind of like noticing, like, what is happening, and it was like, oh, like, my heart is beating fast, my palms are sweating, like, I'm feeling really flustered. I'm having trouble catching my breath, like, just honing in on what that experience is was so pivotal for me, because then it made me be able to say, oh wait, it was made it easier for me to recognize when something was happening. And so then that was like the next phase. So it's like, okay, now I recognize you, but what do I do with it? Like, what? I don't know. And so then being able to put words to like the experience and saying like, hey, I am feeling flooded. I need to walk away. I need to remove myself from the situation. And even with it is sometimes with just myself. So it's like yesterday I had this whole conundrum, right? I was saying I had a 9:00 meeting. It was just a virtual Zoom meeting. It's something they have them every week, every couple of weeks. It wasn't like it was time sensitive or anything like that, but it was important to me. It made it to the calendar. I signed up for it. It was something I wanted to do. At the same time, my son needed me, my other son, the one with the ACL, Dylan needed me to help him with the decision. And now I'm faced with the decision. I'm trying to juggle them both. And I'm realizing, and like the metaphor of it all, right? Like I'm realizing nothing is winning. Nothing is getting my full attention. And I need to make a decision. Am I going to continue to try to juggle both of these conversations and things? And then now I'm supposed to break out in a breakout room and like start thinking about these things? Or am I going to choose one? And so I sat there and I started feeling frustrated. Like I could feel like my right-handed reactions and been like, I told you, like I wanted to say, like, I told you not to say anything yet. Like, this is not an ideal time for me. I know you wanted to do this, but like, this time doesn't work for me. And that's what I really wanted to say. I wanted to be like, I told you, like if you would have listened to me. And I was like, back it up. Like, he is learning. He is an 18-year-old male. He was actually trying to do the right thing and being honest and giving the organizer ample time to not only, secure the replacement, but not waste money on getting tickets and things like that and creating a jersey for him, all these things that would be basically a waste. And so he ends up, I end up making the decision. And in that moment, I decided to go with my son. And then there was the whole conversation in my head, like, why am I so quick to abandon me for somebody else? Like, I'm not asking this of anybody else, but I really don't see a lot of people abandoning themselves for me. And I'm not saying that I want them to, but I'm just saying it to myself, like, this isn't the only way. You don't have to abandon you for somebody else. Now, in hindsight, again, because I had the revelation, I didn't have the resentment. I had the choice. And I sat there and said, do I want to assist Dylan in helping make this really complicated decision? And now it's getting to the point where, like, if you make this decision, you say you're coming and then you don't, you're going to have to pay for it. It's getting complex. It's getting above him. And I really want him, because also his decision affects me. So I really wanted to be able to, give him the benefit of the doubt and the grace of giving him that thing, especially since this meeting was reschedulable. So again, my flexibility sometimes is a blessing, but it also can be like I overuse it. So like I used to get these pains in my leg and I would go to yoga all the time. This was pretty early on my weight loss journey and then joining the gym. So I was like, I like yoga because like I love stretching and it's like opening up these other parts of me, and it's not like cardio or too rigorous. Like I felt like it was a very safe space for me to explore my body and for me to, work out, which I was like, this is a workout. Like, I mean, yes, when you get in certain poses, you're like, oh yeah, I get it. But like it was just this safe and nurturing environment for me to, again, get comfortable in the gym and be comfortable in my body. And I remember asking one of the instructors, I was like, I don't understand. I get this pain behind my knee over here. And he said, well, that's so simple. Like I've seen you, you're flexible, but you don't always engage your muscles. And I'm like, oh, okay. I just didn't know. And so I feel like that again is like another metaphor for me. Like I'm super flexible. Like I'm like, nothing is like set in stone. Like I'm fluid. Like things like come and go, things come up. I get it. But also like because of my flexibility, I also don't like reinforce and use my muscles to say, no, this doesn't work for me. Because most things do work for me. It's not that deep. But then when I suddenly start to feel like something, which I didn't recognize before, then it's time to use not the flexibility, but to use the muscles. And I think, flexibility is great, right? Like even in our physical bodies, like being flexible helps prevent us from getting hurt, right? So if I'm flexible and I'm like, oh, I can go to lunch anytime, and they're like, like they pick a date and it should work for me because I said it can work anytime. But then if I'm like, oh, it only works on Saturdays, and they're like, well, my Saturday is always booked, and then I feel hurt, right? So I think that like my flexibility is not only in my physical body, but it is also a part of my spirit and who I am as a person. And I love that part of me because it also leaves me very open-minded. It gives me the opportunity to be like, I'm flexible. Like I can accommodate things that perhaps I wasn't going to be if I was like very fixed and stiff and rigid. I think it opens up my mind to learn new concepts and take risks and, just be able to also adapt and be able to see. So I think again, life is this balancing act, right? It's blending and being able to use your flexibility in addition to your strength. Use those muscles as well. And if you're using too much flexibility, you're just like loosey-goosey over here. But if you're too rigid and strong and using all your muscle, like you're stiff and you can't touch your toes, and it can be painful too. So I think that finding this perfect blend of the two that works for you, which is going to look different than what works for me, is what is important and what is on my agenda to do and what I've been naturally doing. So once he told me that, like it gave me this, again, I would do really well with examples. So I'm like, oh, okay. So like if I engage the muscle more and not depend on the fluidity, the laxity, and the, flexibility of my body, like it prevents injury as well, because I didn't realize like sometimes there is a thing as being too flexible, and that is so true in my real life. And defining for me what works, like not just being taken for granted because I can be flexible. And I had to also think about this today. I put on this song, so it had been a long time. There was a sassy song he put on, just not sassy, but it's like a fun song. It's like a song, I don't even know who sings it. I think it's from, when I put it on my Apple, it was like an Empire soundtrack or something like that. But the girl is in there, she's singing about she just wants to go in and dance. She's like, you can look but you can't touch, or whatever. So just I was getting my Thursday morning vibes. I was like, oh, I want to hear that song. So I put it on, and and then Apple plays like whatever it wants to play afterwards. And it was just going, like it was on spot, like with all the music. Like sometimes I'm like, yes, you know me, Apple Music, I appreciate the invasion of privacy, but today you're spot on. So like you are my personal DJ and it is working for me. And so I had this like a moment, and I probably, because it was like these powerful women songs, and some of them were about like like after a breakup and things like that. And I started to thinking, and I was like, am I for real? Like, am I seriously for real? That like, and I had a moment where I literally screamed in the car. Like I was like, no, like I got like a little sassy pants in the air to like the air. But I was like, so he sat there so many times telling me that I was unlovable, that nobody loved me, nobody likes me, that I will never find anybody else, like all these things. And maybe he does believe it to be true. That's okay. That's his beliefs and thought. But I was like, that's fine if he believed it, but why did I believe what he had to say when it was so negative and hurtful and mean and cruel? Why did I believe this was true? And then I was like, oh no, like I went off and I was like just had this moment of in the air to myself that I was like, this, and I wouldn't even repeat these things to him, so I'm not going to repeat them on here, but I was like, and this person was like, like, you mean to tell me that with all these, like, where's the redeeming quality? Like, you treat me like garbage, like, literally today, like, like, everything was fine. I asked him if he could pick up the medications that was needed at CVS. He does, and I'm like, hey, can you please make sure to get 4 dosing cups? He comes home and I'm like, hey, where are the dosing cups? He's like, oh, they're not in there. He said they're in the box. They're in the thing. And I'm like, no, they don't come with them. He's like, well, that's what he said. And I was like, but they don't come with them. And he was like, well, that's what he said. And I was like, I know, well, next time can you check or ask me or, check or ask me or, something else. I can't even remember. My brain just froze on it. Anyways. And he was like, well, I could have done a lot of things, but I didn't, obviously, or whatever. Like, it just kind of got like sassy pants again with me. And I was just like, I'm very specific. Like, I don't just ask things for the sake of asking, especially for him, who has asked me not to ask anything. But this was like something that went for the family. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try and see. I don't have time. I couldn't leave Tyler in the car that long. And I was like, he had to go to school and stuff like that. His school started, I think, at 1 or whatever. But, it just was like frustrating because I was like, it just reinforced in there that like, I don't need to be treated like this mean, like, like, let's have a conversation. If you're uncertain, call me, ask me, text me. Like, I don't know. It just gets it's super old. And like, it's like I have one day where there's like a nice interaction and then there's 50 with a negative one. And it just breaks my heart. And I was just like, I just need, like, I don't need perfect. I just need nice. And so like, I heard something and it, probably one of the Instagrams or Facebook reels, something. And the person was like, guys, ladies are so easy out there right now. Like, it is not that hard. Like, all it is like, you see, like, she's in pain or hurting, like, be nice. Like, I don't know, make her a cup of coffee, like, go get her a cup of coffee, like, make her a meal, like, do something, like, give her a snack, like, like, they're not asking, women aren't out today, are not asking for all these things, although it may seem like, and this was the thing, and I was like, yes, literally, it can't be, you don't have this, and you're mean to me, like, what is good? That you impregnated me? Like, we have 4 kids, okay, yes, and what else? Like, okay, like, you made it clear, like, I'm getting my own, like, today I had to go get my own oil changed, like, I fill up all my gas all the time, like, there's never any, like, hey, you do a lot around this house, you do a lot for our kids, like, it is no recognition of it, and worse that there's no recognition, it's like, you don't do anything anyways, like, I've been at work all day, I'm gonna come home and sit and be frustrated that, like, why isn't mom doing more right now? When I have worked 50 different jobs today alone. And so again, like, it just would be nice to have somebody who was emotionally able to just like give me a hug every once in a while and see that like there is value in everything I do around here. And I think it's really sad that he either believes that to be true, that I am unlovable, or that he wants me to feel smaller so that he feels bigger. That if he tells me I feel I'm unlovable, then I will have to stay with him. And, he had told me something a couple years ago when we had started to reconnect and we had started the couples therapy, that and it just has always stuck with me, that like, there was a couple things, but one was that like, he would intentionally do things to hurt me. And that one, for some reason, just stuck with me. Echo off. Sorry, I gotta go cook. Echo off. But that like intentionally he would try to hurt me. And then the second one was that like he took me for granted, and he wasn't nice and good to me because he didn't think I would go anywhere. And he didn't think I could. And I thought, why? Like, that just seems so mean. Like, why would that be that way? So I say all that to say there's so much good today that I'm really excited for, but I'm also happy for these moments that I have time for reflection to really confirm that I am a newly separated woman and I am strong. And even if there isn't another single human being on this earth that loves me, I love me better than the way he is able to love me today. And so I appreciate that. And I'm so glad for my growth, because honestly, that love is more than I've ever experienced from anybody else externally. So I want to say all that to say, thank you so much. I adore you. I think you are amazing. Please today really take appreciation of the progress you made. It may not feel like you've done a lot. It may be a 1-block walk. It may be something little, but really all of it adds up. Be kind to yourself, be nice, and that way you can show up better for other people. So I really hope you have a community you can go turn up with, however your definition of turn up with. Is it like crocheting? Is it reading? Is it just sitting quietly? Is it a hike? Is it, flower arranging? Whatever it is, like, I hope there's a community that loves you. And I hope right here, we are all creating a community that will help uplift and impact women and make us be the best creatures we possibly can be. So I want to say thank you so much. Go out there today, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you.